Oh, there we go. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am live. I'm alive and live. I hope everyone is all right. Welcome to the stream today. I am Manic or Mega. If you've never seen me before, welcome. Oh, and as the title suggests, today we are still going to continue painting my Orc Warboss. It is just me tonight. I am not streaming with anyone else. So more on my lonesome, except for with you for chat. So hopefully you will keep me entertained. A few things to talk about as well, so it's not all just going to be silence while I paint the model. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Oh. Alright, let me know if there's any issues, like with sound or video or anything like that. It's always handy to be told, especially when most of your mods are on away somewhere. So yeah, right, let's get into the painting. So we left off where I had painted the entire mech and orc in this signature series from Pro Acrylic or Pro Acrylic Pro, I don't know, from Rogue Hobbies introduced. Expensive paint for what it is. And then we went over it with a Talasar blue contrast, which is giving us this very vivid, bright blue for his armor. Then the next stage of the armor is not, that is a bluish. Is that on the base? No, it's a base is separate. Also his loincloth fell off, so I have to put that back on at a future date. That sits there on the back there like so. And I've lost a medal that was sat here. Don't know where that's got to. I mean, it's a blue for base. Yeah, the blue's the base. Oh, wait. Yes, I got it. I'm just trying to adjust my arm. Mic arm. There we go. That's it. Just wanted to bring the mic a little bit lower. Yeah, so this is going to be this is for base color. It depends on how I paint sometimes. I will paint. Sometimes I like to start with a medium color, work down to the shade, and work back up to the highlight. In this case, I'm going to start with the base shade, and then work up from there to the highlights, and maybe go back to shading again. But first, I'm going to do the next layer. So like I said, we started with this blue, the ultramarine blue, and then we went over it with the Talasar contrast. That's only ever done a single space. Trust me, it takes me years just to paint a single model. So I still haven't finished off my little Slanesh at the back there. So I don't know if you recognize the character. She's an OC from Sergeant Lonely on Twitter that Ronan Arts Workshop has made into an actual 3D print, which I can sell. I can sell these. And I'm still in the middle of painting her. I still got to do her staff. And I got to finish off her backpack and cloak. It's supposed to be a Zinch sorceress. One of those things I've enjoyed being done, but I just can't be asked myself. It says a person who paints Gunpla. I find this easier to paint than Gunpla. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create the next layer. And to do that, I'm actually going to mix the contrast blue with the Celtic blue to make the next layer up. So I'm going to choose one of the many brushes here for the next layer. Airbrush. That's true. Alright, let's give these a good shake. I can airbrush all day, and let's be honest, Gunpowder's 100 times larger than 40k. Most times, yeah. Depends if you get what model you're doing. Because trust me, there's some models I've built for 40k which are bigger than anything Gunpowder can do. Right. I've got my little mixing plate here. I've got a little bit of kitchen roll to brush off on. So first things first, just apply some contrast on here. Should be enough contrast for now. Yes, for those monstrosities. I've seen some gnarly tanks and such. Yeah, I'm still in the middle of doing a 10-year project of building a bulky warhound. So it's about a foot tall, and it's made from kit bashed tanks to make it bulky. Question: what is that weird lid thing on the underside of the Citadel lids? Oh, you mean this little bit here? So the idea is because you're meant to shake your paints. So you shake your paints up like so, and then when you open it up, some of your paint is on here, and then you can take it off from this little lip and use it instead of taking it straight out of the tub. That's the idea anyway. Yeah, let's give me a nice lighter blue than what I've used. Yeah, so instead of having a dropper, like a lot of, smart people, smart companies do, where they give you a dropper bottle, GW's answer to that is have that stupid lid on the inside. The problem is, the way these lids are designed, so you got this little little thing on the back which these lids are meant to rest on, and it is not the best thing. It snaps off so easily and it doesn't always keep lids open, so it is kind of useless. All right, what brush should I use for the medium layer? Artificer, we'll see. So I'll get some paint on my brush. And we'll see what this color looks like on a large area like this. Oh, it's not actually too bad. So this will make it a bit more muted blue, rather than be bright blue we've got here. And the only reason why this blue is so bright and vivid is because of this ultramarine blue here. Even though I've already shaded it with a contrast, I might have to re-go over it for some areas to reshade it, which is alright. So have you all seen Twitter recently? Well, Japanese Twitter. This weekend it was the All Japan Hobby and Model Show. And all the big companies were there showing off the latest and greatest stuff that they're either releasing, announced, or just some updates. And Bandai were like, yes, we're going to be releasing a new MG. Come see what this new MG is going to be. And they're all like, oh, new MG, new MG. And of course, we all knew about the Faz already, the MG Vercar. But at that show, they decided to actually show a physical model, not just an image like we've all been seeing recently. And so yeah, the new big MG was a red frame. A Stray. Another red frame. To a vast collection of red frames that already exist. So yeah, that's fun. If you are on my YouTube, I've just released a video with the highlights from that show of, you know, model kits that took my interest. But yeah, Bandai, there was, I think, 4 MGs that were announcements or updates. So, of course, there was the MG Faz, the MG Red Frame Astray, which is going to be from the new manga, Mobile Suit Seed Freedom Astray. And the other 2 were an MG Barbatos Lupus, which is probably more interested than the red frame. And what else did they? And a MGEX. Was it Freedom? Strike Freedom? I can't remember. For the latest MGEX with a clear armor. So yeah, so those are the major MGs that were announced. MG Faz or full armor double Zeta. Well, they're calling it the MG. Is the MG full armor double Zeta the car? That's what they're saying, but everyone's just calling it the Faz. And to be fair, my point is, like, they've done multiple times in the past with other kits. Because I can tell you now, it will just be the MG double Zeta Vercar with extra parts. Don't get me wrong, the MG double Zeta Vercar was a good kit. And I thoroughly enjoyed building it. It's just a pain in the ass to pose because it's so bloody big and bulky. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. But I said you might as well. Yeah, canonically the separate units, yeah. Which I do understand that. And that's probably just it, yeah, just a fast recolor. I thought, well, you know, you could just sell an expansion set, to be honest. Let's be fair. If you're just going to reuse old kits and call them new, you know? But what do I know? The only thing I think the Barbatos Lupus and the clear color or mechanical clear armor, as they're calling it, Strike Freedom are probably more interesting than the other 2 for me. And then they had a bunch of HGs. They had quite a few HGs from the new IBO anime. Like the HG Gustav. That's what I'm really looking forward to. They had some new HGs from G Quaxu. One of them being a P Bandai exclusive though. Which is annoying. Which is the Gundam RX-7801 prototype. You know, one that chart actually destroys using the Gundam in a test fight. So What else? Yeah, that's mainly what the Bandai stuff was. The main good thing I saw from Bandai was their AC, their armored core kits they're bringing out. They're bringing out more, which is great. So that's going to be fun. And then we had Koto Kabuki had their own booth as well. The main attraction to their booth was a life-sized frame arm girl, which actually moved and talked. And it had her panties on full display. And I think the other thing that was actually good from their booth was the I think it was Bomberman character kit. Can't remember what her name is now. Lots of new Transformers were also shown off at the show, like the Evangelion Optimus Prime crossover. I think one of the things that did take my interest was there's a company who's produced a new glue, which is water-based, and it doesn't dry white like some glues do on clear plastics. It's also, you can wipe it off with a wet wipe or something if it splooges out too much. So that does look promising. So I'm gonna keep my eye on that glue when it comes out. Had some new Godzilla kits, like King Ghidorah. They looked interesting. Yeah, we'll have a watch of the video I'll just put up on YouTube later. It goes over quite a lot of the stuff that was there. What's everyone else been up to this week? What have you been making, building, painting, playing? I have been playing a lot of the new Pokemon, Legends ZA, and I've also been playing the new Digimon game. Digimon Story The Time Stranger, I think it's called. Been playing that a lot. That's a fun game. Much better than Pokemon, in my opinion. but still have fun playing Pokemon. Also, they just re-released the original Croc. So I've downloaded that and I'm going to play that at some point. I remember playing that bad boy on the original PlayStation. So I don't know if you can see it there. See, now it's got a better, more solid color on it. Doesn't look as blotchy anymore. It's kind of what I'm going for. So what I do normally is I'll go over and I make sure that it's all clean first. So I'll shade, highlight, paint, layer. It will be like a clean coats in that. And then I'll go back in afterwards and then I'll weather it all. But I like to paint my whole miniature first and then go back and weather. And we'll be doing a video on weathering Gunpla. For those who don't know how. Also, when I'm painting, I like to go by each color. So what I'll do is I'll paint, shade, layer, highlight for this blue first, and I'll go over into the next color, which will probably be for red, and then I'll do for yellow, and then I'll do blacks, silvers. Just going over each one. So I can see the process of that myself. That's the main reason. Everyone's got their own ways of painting. Like some people will paint in modules. Whereas I paint, as you can see, figure it as a complete thing. What I'm used to doing. So I've painted for GW for years. Just going back over what I've already painted. Hey Ron, looks awesome. Caught your videos just before stream. It was neat to see all the new stuff come out. Oh, thank you. Thank you for having a watch. Hope you're doing all right. What have you been up to? I hope your week's been treating you well. Yeah, I'm not really the best when it comes to getting videos out, though. I think that's my first new video in 2 weeks. If you don't count for ones I've been re-uploading of the streams that I cut down. I do try, but with my care and responsibilities and work, it's a bit difficult. I keep on top of it all. So what's your favourite thing you're looking forward to then, Ron? From what you've seen so far. Not for worse Monday. It can't be any worse than mine. My boss didn't bother showing up to work. Red frame. Don't you already have an MG red frame though? Like everyone else. Because I don't know how much. It's good to see if it's going to get fancy new weapons. That is actually a good point. I didn't think of that when I made the video. What weapons they'll come with, because the manga's new too, so no one's really read it yet. So we don't know what loadout it's going to have. That is a good point. Almost all of them. Only a couple of the bands to complete the collection. Alright. I've not got any of the band ones. Because I'm slowly making a custom Hong Kong one. So if you remember a couple of years ago, celebrating the 20th anniversary of Gundam base in Hong Kong, they released a special Astray, white Astray frame, which was a combination of different Astrays and a Destiny Gundam, but it costs so much money to get hold of, so I'm making my own. Exactly, this is a new story along with all the fancy new freedom upgrades. That's true. I just wonder how different the mobile suit itself is going to be to other Gundam, other Red Strays. And they haven't really, it's still tentative as well. It hasn't been confirmed that that's going to come out. They've just announced it. There's just a prototype. No confirmation that they are working on it next. We have a MG Lupus coming out next month. The Hong Kong one and the Mars jackets are the two I'm missing. Yeah, like I said, I'm just making my own Hong Kong one. I've got the parts. I just need to paint it. I think the hardest part for getting was the Astray Noir. Has a proper back. That's the actual back piece you need to attach the Impulse. What is it? Impulse Disc or something like that. Impulse backpack onto it. So one with a bird-like backpack. To get that backpack on there, you need a special part. That only came with a Noir. So I brought a noir specifically just for that. So I'm going to have to, because there are no other parts out there for it, I think I'm going to have to design my own, 3D print it, and then give the file out to everyone so they can make their own Hong Kong version. A lot easier. That'll be one of my next projects, 3D products. I can't paint in my current setup, so I'm just saving, going to graphic to bang copy. I hear it's a pretty decent clone. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of the Chinese kits are coming out recently are getting pretty good. I think my most recent one was for Fat Cat RX-78, and I was quite impressed with it. You know how close it is to the original RG they copied, and how well it's made. So I was like, huh. So I might get the God Gundam they just made, but we'll see. I'm not too worried right now about tidiness when painting this. Just more worried about getting the coverage I need with the paint I have. Because, you know, mixing paints is a pain. But to be fair, with this, with an orc, I think having kind of slightly mismatched colours looks good. The problem I got here is I'm using a contrast colour, and they dry quickly because of the way they're made, which is annoying. So basically got to be quick with the paint. I saw your video on the Fat Cat. It looks really good. It does. It builds. It's a very nice build. I've got it sat up there right now. And I think it's one of my favorites so far when it comes to third-party stuff. This is a shame that with the way Bandai is, you'd be lucky now to buy it anywhere. Because from what I've heard, Bandai are on a warpath. So yeah, so a lot of the so if you want it, get it now before Bandai decides to get out there and start hammering people with a ban hammer. Because they will. They're very aggressive like that when it comes to their copyright. That's why, unfortunately, my sponsor won't be carrying it either. So yeah, it's difficult for me to get hold of as well. It's not an easy one to get hold of. It's coming together nicely now. X, yeah. How you doing? I'm alright. Getting by. How are you doing? How's life been treating you? How are tricks, as they say? Right, I've nearly done one leg in this colour that I wanted to do it in. And then I'm going to have to recharge my colours, because it's almost out already. I'm doing fine. Nah, that's good. Good to hear. Also, while you're here, Beeps, don't forget to check out Gunpla UK. We've got loads of new kits coming in this week and week after. Loads of juicy bits. And use my code DOMACOUNT and get 10%. Get 10% off. But also on that note, if you are in the States, just a word of warning, due to tariffs, Gunpla UK is debating whether or not it is now feasible cost-wise to send to the States. Because it actually costs us like an extra 10% on top to send stuff over. Even if you're not a business seller, even private, or if you're just sending something, it's an extra 10%. We still have to pay the extra 10% on tariffs, which is a bit silly. But yeah, that's your government for you. %10 off is always nice. It is, isn't it? I mainly do it to promote for business more than anything. The owner is a good friend of mine. But he has, as a disclaimer, he has introduced a new system to it that whenever people use my code or someone else's code who he sponsors, they will get a 10% or they get a monetary kickback from the sale itself. That's all of us who are sponsored or affiliate with Gunpla UK, I believe. I mainly just take it in model kits. I keep the availability just to add on for new fee. Yeah. And wait, people could still support even if they chose to pay more. Yeah, that's true. Just saw you all now. It's 9:15. I will be taking a break at 9 o'clock to feed the pupper, have a cup of tea. So I will be putting on some ads for Twitch viewers. There will be ads for your YouTube viewers. There'll be no ads, but there'll still be a be right back screen. It's just so no one misses out then. And like I say, you can always catch for VODs on YouTube. How many affiliates do they have? At the moment, I think it's me, Vive, Gunpla, Fluffy. I think Irradiated Rat's still one. Kavina's still one. Alpha Box, Gunpla. And they just took on a new one, which is Drupla from TikTok. I think that's all they've got at the moment. Oh, let me just get rid of this kick bot. Is it? No, it's not a bot. What kick? Where does that bot come from? Is it a Twitch bot? It is indeed a Twitch bot. That's bad. You. I need to put the kids down as well. Good to see you. That's not no worries. Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by. It's always nice to have a chat with peeps. To be fair, I'm open to talk about anything. Oh, wow, that's awesome. They have grown so much. Yeah, they have, yeah. I think at the moment they're wanting to get rogue hobbies in on it as well. So we'll see how that works out. Oh shit. Gone down the side of my paint pot instead of in it. But yeah, the Gunpla UK has become quite a big Gunpla supplier in this part of the world. They're starting to have closer talks with Bandai as well, so should be good. I'm just going back over some areas where I think could do with some more of the colour. Like I say, I'm not too worried about how messy this layer is. I'll get tired and tired as more layers I add on. So, and then after all that, I'll weather it like an orc. The weathering comes last after I've done all the other colours. So I like to do it all at the same time. That way I can keep the weathering consistent across the model. And even then, when I'm done with highlights and layers of this blue, I might use a slightly different blue tone just to make it look like it's got a mismatch of plates. And just give that more orky feel. But yeah, for those who are watching FMO and just chilling out, vibing, welcome. I don't require anyone to chat if they don't want to. If they just want to listen to music, hear me, hey Rev, hear me talk and all that, and that's fine. I don't mind. There is one thing I like to say though, is when I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will be giving a kit away. Probably an MG. What it will be, I don't know yet. But when I hit that 1,000, I will decide. How you doing, Rev? Have you seen there's a new red frame Astray being announced? That's awesome news, buddy. Happy to hear you getting close to 1,000. Well, thank you, Rev. I have. Everyone has sent me messages. Oh, that's awesome. Everyone knows. Oh, look at the red frame. That's best tell Rev. Yeah. So I did kind of. It's another red frame, to be fair. And it's like, well. But as Ron on YouTube pointed out earlier, as Ron pointed out earlier, the chatter in YouTube, yeah, we don't know what weapon set it's gonna have. That's the exciting part. That's what I didn't think about when I made my video earlier on what came out for the show this weekend. And it's a very good point. Because to be fair, as much as we have so many red frame Astrays, they all have different weapon sets, which is what makes them all unique to each other. This has got a sexy new armor and hopefully awesome new weapons. Yeah, the armor's so-so. It's like, Ron makes a very good point. Smart man. Because I just recently got from Gunplay UK the P Bandai Astray blue frame from the manga. So he's one with a massive rocket launcher. So I got that to build at some point. And don't get me wrong, I like red frames. I built quite a few in my time. I think I prefer the RG out of all of them. It's one of my most fun. I built that as a sponsor build. I mean, it's always been red leaning towards melee and blue always went more guns. So I don't know if they're planning on keeping the theme with the new manga series. We'll see. Because it's called for new freedom tech, hasn't it? So I have to see when the manga comes out. Give it a read. Again, they've announced it, but it's again just says tentative on the placard next to it. So there's no guarantee it will actually come out, which is annoying. Like I said, what I'm really looking forward to is the Lupus. But I need to buy myself another MG Barbatos. So I've got a conversion kit for it. That's a Lupus Rex I need to buy. See if Steven's got any in stock. Right. Definitely going to depend on the manga popularity. Yeah, definitely. I think it will be popular. And it's not a bad manga. Especially if they do localize it. I think it will sell well if they localize it, because not many Gundam mangas get localized for US and UK, so I might see if I can get hold of a copy. I think I'm pick up the add-on set for the Barbie, but I'm gonna wait until they drop the Ichiban version, because I want to keep my partial clear theme running with my MG RBO collection. Oh, that's a good point. I don't know when they'll do an Ichiban or for new Lupus. Probably when they release the anime eventually. They might do an Ichiban then. Those who are watching who don't know what an Ichiban is, Ichiban is Bandai's raffle system, where you buy a ticket when you visit a store in Japan, and you could win prizes. And tickets are usually 500 yen each. If, like, Gunpla UK wants to do an Ichiban, they have to first put up £1,000 and then sell tickets 12 quid each. So yeah. And that's not negotiable. That is what Bandai say. I'll probably be a while, but I'm a patient man. I have to learn patience with this hobby. Well, they're finally re-releasing VO, so there's always that fun. I've already got VO original release, so I'm happy. But there are a lot of people griping about it being a red frame. Hold on. All right. What I'll do is going to do a final touch up here, and then we're going to go on a break. Go have a cup of tea, feed the dog, all that fun stuff I do on breaks. And then I'll be back afterwards. Should be only like 10-15 minutes. I'll probably run ads for Twitch watchers, so just so you know. Just going to do this bit for knee here in this paint. I shall be back. A lot of red frame warriors out there. Very true. Alright, I shall pause the painting net and go on my break and have a cup of tea. So I will be back momentarily. Like I said, just getting a cup of tea. And I'll be back. So yeah, so let's see if we can get any ads going from Twitch. Gone. Gone, that's fine. Alright then, I shall see you all in a bit. I will be back soon. Ciao. Hello everyone, I'm back. How you all doing? Right. Oh, I finished. Partner's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock time to come have your break, blah blah. And he's like, oh, I fed everyone. It's like, no, that's my job. I'm meant to feed everyone at 9 o'clock. Why are you doing it? So yeah. But yeah, so let's get back to the painting of my orc. I think I've done pretty much all for lower leg. I just need to paint the toes on this foot. On the back side there. And along the top here. So what's everyone else doing tonight? What are you building, painting, watching, playing? Also a question for those who are streamers on Twitch. Where in you build Gunpla? What category do you choose now? When I was doing a lot more streaming, I used to use some makers and crafters. But do you all still use that, or have you changed it to using miniatures and models for like I'm doing here for this orc? If you can hear that, that's a bloody cat being an idiot. Looking for my partner, who's not here, who's next door. This color's going on nicely. It's not as a blue as this blue. But I was only using it for blue as a base. I think the blue I'm putting on now is more orky because it's a bit duller, not as bright. So a lot of the tunes we are listening to tonight are from White Bat Audio. You can find on YouTube. And I do have a license for it all. So I've paid him a decent fee for the license. And you too can as well. If you go to whitebataudio.com, I believe it is, you can buy his music there. You should even use on your own streams. And it's not expensive either, compared to some stuff out there. Like I do have a license with a music service. It gives me access to a bunch of music I can use in my videos, royalty free. It's kind of handy. Stops me getting copyright struck for music and that. That cat is doing my head in already. haven't really been watching anything recently. To be fair, it's just mainstream TV doesn't really appeal to me anymore. Especially when a lot of stuff I used to watch, I just watch on Amazon or something. Not really watching anything special anymore. I think the last thing I watched, I actually went out my way to watch, was the Pokemon Horizon series. Other than that, you know, I'm rewatching the Grand Tour. There's not really anything decent on these days. There's not any decent movies. There's no decent TV shows. So I think the last movie I watched was Heads of State with John Cena and Elsa. And it was alright. It had its moments. It was funny in places, but it wasn't the best thing. But it's definitely better than what's out there at the moment. So this bit here. And so don't forget, if you want to get your own Gunpla, tools, paints, and you're in for UK, go to Gunpla UK for one-stop shop for all your Gunpla and snap build needs. And then use my code on Mechanic and 10% to get 10% off your order. I'm trying to keep this in frame as much as I can. I'm not very good at paint, that kind of thing, really. Awareness of where my camera is. Because it's stupid, because even though the camera is actually in the center of the desk, because of the angle and the distance, even on this here, it's still on the desk for me, but to you, the camera, it isn't. It's just weird how perspective works like that. I think I've done for lower half now for what I needed to paint in this blue. I've done the topsies, I've done for the main legs, I've done the crotch area. Right, next is to do with the torso. This blue here though is starting to congeal. I'm gonna have to add some Water Plus to it just to give it another lease of life. So if you don't know what Water Plus is a paint additive made by a company that's local to me in Norwich, UK. And it is a paint medium. And it works with all different types of acrylic paints. I've tested it with lots of different types of acrylic paints. And it's by a company called Insta. They do loads of different paint additives. Water Plus just happens to be my favorite. They do metallic paint additives, they do pearlescent additives, all that stuff to make your acrylics look a bit different. I think the website's insta.com. Insta Paints. They do have a Twitter as well, and they do have a Twitch channel. I haven't seen them stream much lately because it is a one-man band. There's one bloke doing it all. He's a good, nice fella. I like support my local businesses. So like here in this case here, I'm painting this panel on top of this panel, is I might go with a different blue for this panel, just to make it, you know, pop a little, because it is quite a big flat space. The old point of orcs is that they're a mishmash. It's never a bad idea just to, you know, change it up a little. Doesn't have to all be the same color. I haven't been able to paint at all for the past week, so that's why they haven't really done much else to this model. On top of everything else I've got to do in my life. So yeah. But hopefully I can keep painting this and it will look good in the end. Also, for those who are watching and weren't here earlier, I did mention that because I'm close to getting to 1,000 subs on YouTube, I will be doing a giveaway when I do that. And those who are familiar, who've been on with the channel for a while, Twitch channel, know that I used to do a lot of giveaways. I had to calm it down as of late because it's getting expensive, giving you all those free model kits. So yeah, but just to celebrate me getting 1,000, I will do that. Probably be an MG kit, unless you all got suggestions of something else. Nothing bigger than MG though. I'm not buying you a PG to win. I'm not B. I don't have money to throw around like they do. And then after that first 1,000, the next goal is 10,000. So we'll see. We'll see. But it will be a good kit. It won't be one of those, just a Mark II or something silly like that. It will be a rare kit, or a kit that's hard to come by. Maybe a P Bandai kit. So it hasn't really changed. So my naked eye for blue is quite different to what's already on there, but to the camera, it's not so different. We'll see when I take photos later, see how different the blue is. So hopefully I'll be able to do more than just this one layer today. I've got to get another 2 layers on top. I wish that cat would shut up though. Jesus Christ, he's noisy. There's no sound worse than a yowling cat. person. He's only looking for his mother, my partner. She's gone next door to spend some time with her parents, and she took a tiny dog with her too, with Dottie. He feels all alone, but I am not a cat person. He's getting on a bit as well. He's like 16, 17 years old now. And if you're there as well, just sitting there and wondering why is he streaming on Kick as well? I was like, well, because it's just to branch out a little. There's not many builders on Kick. And eventually Twitch will, at the moment, the way it's heading, will die. Unless they do something about the CEO. So yeah. I like to keep my options open just in case. Never have all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. That is the key to a decent business. Also a question for the chat. What would you think would be the best day to stream on? So I'm thinking of doing a second streaming day. I don't know whether I should go back to my Saturday morning stream, which I used to do every Saturday morning. Because normally on a Monday evening I do a collab with Beef Gunpla Fluffy. But apparently they've changed their stream days and now it's their VR chat day. So I'll still be doing Monday evenings. I would like to hear your feedback. Be it here now. Oh, damn it. It is poor form to have a bot that advertises in other people's chat your Discord. That's just rude. What are they thinking? I always want to know is how many people, all these bots send out all these links and chats that actually work. Because I do wonder. How many people actually fall for it? I mean, people think that, yeah, if a chat bot there is right, yeah, it'll get me more views on my stream. More bot views, that is. The only issue using this contrast color to make this blue is the fact that it dries out so quick. Even adding my water plus to it doesn't prolong it long enough. And before anyone says, I did have a wet palette and it got moldy on me. It went very moldy. So yeah. Funds. But I made a new one that's going on nice and smooth, like butter. It's buttery smooth. Trying to see underneath there with the limited light I have. I do have an overhead light. I've also got a light to my left here that's behind this camera. But it's not enough light. I need another light coming from the top angle this way. Amazing how much lighting you need just to paint a bloody model. Especially like taking photos as well. Man, like you need to take a photo. It's a bit ridiculous. Yeah. For those, you know, who have got other people to watch, other streamers they want to go watch, don't worry. Go off and do it. I'm not going to be offended. You can always catch up with the streams and that on the VODs on YouTube. And if the VODs are too long, I am cutting down the streams into 20-minute videos so they're easier to digest at your own leisure. At the moment, we have the HG Neo Xeon videos coming out. Well, I built a HG Neo Xeon. If you got any questions or anything like that for me, with regards to painting and that, I'm happy to answer anything. To be fair, I'm also happy to answer any question. So let me know in the comments if you're watching this in a VOD, or you can tweet at me on Twitter what you would like to for next Let's Talk be. Because it's definitely what I need to think about next. Next review, what Gundam would you like me to review next? Gunpla kit. I got plenty in my backlog I can use. And the ones you want me to do, I might already have. Because I was going to do a review on the PG blue frame from P Bandai, which I got recently. So I thought that'd be a good kit to review. It's been a while since I built a PG as well. So I got that. I got a PG Zaku 2 Char color. And I got a PG Unicorn to build. So I've got a few PGs to build. I've also pre-ordered for PGU New with Gunpla UK. So that'll be fun when that comes out. I'll be definitely streaming that straight up as soon as I receive it. I'm not part of the FOMO, so if other people start streaming it before I can, I'm not going to worry too much. I'll stream it when I get it. Alright, I've done the main torso. I'm now just doing for the left arm in this blue. And once I've done that, it's the right arm. I'm not going to do it all. There's only certain parts I want to do in this blue. Once I've done this blue, once I've done the next few layers and the highlights and some more shading to take it back down again from a highlight, I will then start on for next color. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing when you're painting in layers like this is you just add in less and less and less and less. Same with highlighting as well. You just keep adding less. Yeah, once I've done this color, I then will go back over where I want to paint next the colors I want, and I'll paint them black again. So if I'm doing, I might do my yellows next instead for reds, or I might do my reds next. We'll see. Or I might change it up and go change to a different blue, just to give it that mismatched look that orcs have. So it's not all the same blue then. So it's not just broken up by the different colours I want to be using, but it's also broken up by the different blues. And that will make it feel a bit more orky. There it goes. It's looking good. It's coming together. One of those things I had to learn when I first started trying to learn to paint professionally and better. Painting better. was to learn how to temper my expectations. Because at the end of the day, when you start painting a model, it looks crap. It will always look crap when you first start painting. But as you progress through it, getting it to look better and better. You start seeing it coming together. And eventually you'll have something that looks amazing. So never give up on something just because at the stage you're painting it or making it or producing it, it doesn't look good. Keep going. Wait out until the very end of the thing you're doing. Because trust me, at the end of it, it will look good. I'm going to have to make one more batch of this colour. And then I can move on to the next layer once I've done the other arm. But yeah, the point of this layer, even though it's going back over that vivid blue I created last time with the ultramarine blue and the contrast blue, it's meant to smooth it out, blend it together better, and change the colour slightly, mute it a bit. Because even though it was quite nice to have this quite brilliant blue, I wanted it to be a bit more muted because it's an orc. So, you know, they're not really meant to be very bright and shiny, well, the old orcs were. But I prefer if my orcs weren't. But we'll see. I might do a panel here or there that's a bright blue. Just so you know. Blend it in. So that's that arm done. I'm going to have to do one more mix of this paint and then I can move on to the next one. Picking my other themes. What is going on with Kick? There we go, it's better. Weird. Kick wasn't catching up with me. So weird. Alright. So I'm going to mix the next colour again. This is probably for the last time I need to mix it. So next, after this colour will be for next layer. Yeah, because of contrast paint I'm using for this blue. I could use a Citadel blue. This is giving me for just the right blue I need. It's coagulating, which is never nice. Not nice when your paint coagulates. Add some of this blue. And again, I'll probably mix my own blue shade like I do. I mix all my colors now. I very rarely use a color straight out the pot now. This is a base paint. I like to mix now to get the right colours. Sometimes the correct base will give you the colour you want, though. Like I've always said, use a pink for yellows and golds. Use a black for chrome and metallics. Use a soft grey if you're doing organic stuff, like skin and fabrics. Use a hard grey if you want to do armor. The base paint will always affect the rest of the layers, and it will make it look different. Like I'm using I think I'm using grey sear as a base grey for this grey here. And then I added this blue to it. Gives you a colder look, which is what you want for metals. You want it to look colder. Now I've also got to figure out a way of how am I going to do the competition when I hit 1,000? Because I will hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube at some point. It's an inevitable thing. But the question is, how will I get people to enter the competition, the giveaway? So, you know, and even though it is a YouTube go, I don't want to shut out anyone from Kick or Twitch or Twitter from entering. I want them to all be able to enter. So I've got to devise a way of what helps everyone. I might be able to get it as a sponsored giveaway with Gunpla UK. I'll see what they say. Yeah, we'll see. After I hit 1,000, we'll see what the next goal will be. The bigger the goal, the better the kit, you know. So I think it's better to give away kits when you hit milestones, really, than just do monthlies. So if you keep doing monthlies, people expect it. And it's not always good for wallet. Well, I used to do monthlies before a few years ago when I used to do Twitch more often, but it did get a bit heavy on my wallet, so I did have to stop it in the end, which is unfortunate. It's not like I like giving away stuff. I like helping people who can't afford it or can't get access to the kit to win a kit. Yeah, I gotta think of my own wallet sometimes. Can't keep doing that. Right. Not much more left to paint. So I'm only going to be painting the two turrets I've stuck together on this, in this blue. Rest of this arm will be in different colours. So I'm going to do some callbacks to the old school orcs. Why not making some of the barrels yellow or red? Right, we're getting there slowly but surely. So I've done this arm here. I might do the barrels on the back in a different color. Or I could just do the barrels and the straps in a different color. Let's see how much of this paint I've got left, because I don't really want to make another batch of this paint, you see. I'll move on to the next layer. Yeah, I'll just bring it together a bit, I think. I do for main of the barrels in this color, and then other parts of the barrel in a different color. Almost done. Almost done with this color. This is one of the issues I have with painting. As good as I am with it, it's just, it is monotonous sometimes. Just getting these like first few colors on, especially when you're doing a big area of the same color. And that's what a lot of people find as a challenge when they do first start painting, which I can understand. That's why I don't get many models painted in a year. I think this would be my third model this year that I've painted that I've actually completed. So yeah. When it comes to painting, I'm not the fastest. I prefer building, kit bashing to painting. But I had to get good at the painting just to make my models look that little bit extra when I do paint them. So even the best kit bash can make you look like a turd if you don't paint it well. Something I learned at my time when I worked at GW. That's it. That is all that blue I am willing to paint. Alright. Next thing to do is to mix the next layer. Now I've got to think of very different. I don't want it too different, but I don't want it too similar. And I want to try and get away from using this contrast, because it's coagulating on my dish here. Let me just have a look at my colours. So I could get away using the Crag blue as my base. So we'll see if I can get away with using this. If I can make a similar colour to this, that's already on my palette here. With my Crag blue. And then I'll add some more to make it a bit lighter. So it's similar, but not exactly the same. It's not as vibrant. So it's not a bad thing. What I'll do is I'll add a little bit. I think I'll add some more out of this blue here, because it's a very greyish blue, and the other colours I've got here to highlight with a more blue. So I might mix in some ultramarine as well, just to see how the colour looks. We'll add some more of this first to bring this coloured a bit lighter. Right, okay. As for base coat is this ultramarine blue. Ah, you gotta be shitting me. It's all over the place. It just splurged all over my fingers. I only shook it a little. Jesus. That's why I got bloody kitchen roll here. With shit like this. Ugh. It's expensive paint too. Just a little drop. Not too much. Oh, come on. Kitchen roll's rubbish too. God. Getting blue everywhere. Oh, it's all over my fingers. Oh. At this rate, I'll be part of a blue man group. Alright, let's mix all this in together. See what color it gives me. It's an alright color. Definitely lighter. That's what I was saying before. I just wanted a lighter shade. The thing is with mixing paints, if you do it enough, you start to learn how to get different hues. Some blues may be lighter, but some blues might be grayer, some might be bluer, some might be greener. So you start to learn when you're mixing paints not to just use whites and blacks to darken it or lighten it. You start using other blues and other colours that are similar but different shades to get to the different colours you need. Right. So we're on to the next layer now. And with this, secret of this one is we are just going to retract from the edges. So the idea is when you're layering like this to blend is that you try and keep making the next layer of paint as close to the previous one, but retract further from the edges and lines and pivots, points and all that, just to make it look like it's getting proper shading. Like, yeah, I want to keep close to these edges because there'll be highlights. But I want to stay away from flat areas as much as I possibly can. This is where you start using less and less paint, spending less and less time in painting parts. It's called like subtraction painting. So you get like further and further away from these open spaces and you get closer and closer to edges that are highlights. And again as well, if you want to try and keep an idea of a specific lighting direction you're going with and try and keep that throughout the entire model. And your brushes, you start using smaller and smaller brushes on each level, layer level. So like I'm still using the Citadel layer medium brush right now, but for next layer I'll be using a smaller brush. Also, when it's like, try and get for tops of the armor pieces, but don't do for bottom half. Leave them with that last layer. So I've already got 3 layers on this. This is the 4th layer of paint I'm doing. So you're probably going to end up like, with me, I'm going to end up like with probably 6 or 7 layers before highlights and shading, because I'm still going to shade. So yeah, there's a way to go yet. And all I'm going to do is with this new color I've got on here, which you can't really see, but so this color here, all I'm going to do is just keep adding lighter and lighter blues to it, just to bring it up lighter and lighter. But as you progress through the layers, your paint you'll get quicker and quicker at painting each layer. So like the first layer, it took me ages. In fact, it took me a whole stream just to do the first 2 layers. And the second layer was just a contrast paint, which I just slapdashed on. As I get less and less paint And more layers, the quicker I'll get. Just because I don't need to spend as much time as I'm covering this. Like there, I've already almost done the whole leg. So I just got to do the back side, the panel there, top panel, and that's the leg done. So already this is, I'm already quicker than the last layer. With keeping in mind for lighting, I'm going to try and get it so the lighting's coming from above, basically, and try and paint it that way. But you want the model to look good from all angles, so yeah, you don't want to stylize the paint direction too much for lighting directing. Like here, I'm not going to paint all the way to the edge of the recess where the top layer armor meets the bottom here, just to start giving that natural shade. I will paint the top bit there. I won't paint underneath here. And these are going to be a different color, so I'm not going to paint those either. Let's do the last bit of armor in here. Alright, legs done, just need to do the little toes, little tootsies. Again, I'm not going to go all the way in there, because I want to try and start shading it, basically, using the layers. So I'm not going to go all the way under. Same here. Of course, I might have to go back over in some areas and repaint, which is just the nature of the beast. Okay, that's that leg done there. Now onto the crotch. So I'll work my way across from this leg to this leg. And do the same painting technique, trying to keep away as much from recesses or, if it around rivets. Almost, you are layering it, but you're almost trying to dry brush at the same time. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be extra tidy. It's kind of what they call like heavy dry brushing. That's where you have quite a loaded paintbrush. You're still dry brushing it on kind of technique. It's how they do a lot of speed painting in GW for their shows when they're doing like battle reports and that, and they need an army quick. They would use a lot of dry brushing techniques to get it to the standard they want it. Considering how slow I am at painting models and that, I'm not really jumping up a bit to get an affiliate with Games Workshop because they'll expect stuff on time. I'm like, ooh, no, I can't do that. So I'm a slow ass painter. I like to take my time. Don't like to rush. Or it might make me a better painting because it'll give me deadlines. Like Siege Studio was recently hiring. I did think about it. But I'm like, oh, I've got too much going on as it is. With YouTube, Twitch, work, caring responsibilities, trying to learn to drive. Just not the right space or time for it right now. So I've done commission pieces before. Painted whole armies for GW stores. But it just takes up so much of your time. Like now, this is going to be a 3-hour stream, and I've done maybe 2 layers by the end of tonight. And I'm, even though I am talking, I'm still painting. I haven't stopped. So, even if I spend an even to myself, I probably wouldn't have got no further as well. I just think being, streaming me doing this is actually giving me the motivation to actually do it. Because it means I can sit down and do it. Whereas normally I'd be like, people keep distracting me or asking me to do things. So to be fair, if I wasn't streaming, I probably won't get as much done because I'd be too busy dealing with other stuff. At least when I'm streaming, people don't bother me. Well, they know not to bother me anyway. So I get more done. So I made a single, because I haven't used any of the contrast paint in this batch. It's not coagulating or drying up as quick as the previous layer did. So that's something to be wary if you're using contrast colors to mix. I do have a contrast medium, which can help, but I don't know that it would have helped that much. Being with these first few layers on, you can already see it coming together. Actually see the blue coming together now for legs. I don't know why as well. It's like when I'm painting something like this, I don't like starting with the inner frame or any of the other stuff. I always like to start with the main armor. I don't know why. You think, you know, doing the inner frame would be easier to start with, but I always find it easier to start with the armor first. Because even if you make mistakes then with the others, it's a lot easier to cover up. And we will see that happen. I will make mistakes, which I will have to tidy up. It's gonna happen. It's just how it is. It's how you deal with those mistakes. That's where it's key. Because failure is part of learning. Never let failure stop you. Learn from it. Do better. Move on. No matter what it is, it's never the end if you fail. Learn from those mistakes. Make yourself better. Do better next time. Simple as that. Right, the lower half is done. We're now onto the torso. What time is it? And we're at 20 past 10. Another 40 minutes and it'll be the end of the stream. So thank you all for those who've been around and stayed here with me. Just listening to me and watching me paint. It might look a bit subtle with changing colours, but that's how I like it. Because you will see the difference over time. as you build up more and more layers. And if I do get some time during the week to do some more work on this guy, I will. If not, I'll have to continue on next week's stream. I'm painting this armor here blue, but I don't know if I'm going to keep it blue yet. I might change it to a different color, or I might do a different blue altogether. We'll see. But the main color scheme of my army is Death Skull, so blue is their main color. But because he is a mega boss, he might have other colors as well, represent the other clans that he has under him. He's a big mech, mega mech, mega mech, ultra mech. And I've built different variations of this mech, by the way. This is like my headcanon. This is the same character as all the other mechs I've built, and he has evolved over time, getting bigger, more brutal, and more weapons and armor. I think I used the Leviathan legs from the last release to make for the last big mech, which I sold on. After building him, I couldn't be asked to paint him, so I sold him. But so this is the evolution of that mech, and I've made many different models of the same mech with just varying different levels of augments as he gets bigger and better and finds better armor and better vehicles to nab. So yeah. So my headcanon is this is the same orc mech I started kit bashing all them years ago. My first orc army. My first big mech. My first mech boy. And he's the same mech boy who's continued on all this time. Because even if I don't want to keep these blues in certain areas, I can always just paint back over them with a different color. If I feel like it needs breaking up from just having all this blue all the time. I think I'll do the engine in the black. Like I said, we're a lot speedier now. Like the first 2 hours was just spent painting the layer before this. And this last like half an hour has been painting just this layer. And be the same for the next layer, and the layer after that, and the layer after that. It will just get quicker and quicker and quicker. Sorry, I'm taking the model out of the bloody frame here, trying to paint the damn thing. It is a habit of mine. Which I'm trying to slowly get out of. I'm sure you don't want to hear me heavily breathing down the mic. That's that bit done. So we're getting there almost. Just got to do for barrels and then for the other arm. And this color would be done too. I might have to make another batch. But you see, notice that this batch of layer lasted longer than the last one. We had to make like 3 or 4 batches of the last one. It was this one I made the one batch and it's lasted me this long. And I'm going to have to make another batch just so I can finish off the other arm. That's not an issue, really. I'm actually quite surprised this batch of layer paint lasted this long. Like I said, it's more layers you put on, the less paint you're using. So it should last a bit longer than normal. Alright, so that's that done. Right, let's get some. Oops. Let's get another batch done because I'll do another batch and it won't go to waste like the previous layer because I would use it to lighten it to get to the next layer color I want. Always wash your brush off afterwards, though. Gotta make sure that your brushes are clean before the next layer. A bit down. And maybe on this cameras, it might not look like I'm actually adding a different color. But I am. It's just that subtle. And that's the way it should be. For what I like anyway. How I paint. I like for layering to be subtle, not to be too contrast. Some people do a lot more contrast. Then again, some people don't mix their paints, even now. Some of the most professional painters won't mix their paints for some reason. I find it's very helpful, especially when I'm doing repairs on like figures and that. It's handy to be able to mix your paints. It's a good skill to learn. I think it's one of the most invaluable skills I've learned since leaving the Navy is how to mix paint. I used it a lot when I was working for home base. I use it a lot now for painting like this or repairing my partner's figures that are damaged with paint chips and stuff like that. Or repairs where I'm fixing bits of figure back together and for seeing these painting over and stuff like that. So color mixing is very handy in very many different ways. And I've come to a point where I can actually see subtle differences in colors. I couldn't name them, but I can see the subtle differences. Another skill I'd probably suggest learning is dry brushing. It is a easy skill to use, but a hard skill to master. And it will help you a lot with painting. Never let anyone tell you different. Dry brushing is an important technique as any other painting technique out there. So definitely worth learning how to do it properly. Alright, I'm done with that blue. That is that layer done. So I don't know if you can actually see the difference on these cameras. You can on this camera up here, but not so much on this camera. But with a naked eye, you can start seeing the difference between the blue I've left on for bits I'm going to paint silver and the armor. It's a subtle difference, but it's there. Right, next, I'm going to add a lighter blue. So I'm done with these colors for now. Needs a bit more mixing up. So I'm going to add some of this Techless blue. I need more than that actually, just because of how much paint is here. So we're going to give it a good mix. It should make a subtle change, but it will be different. And to be fair, I'm memorizing all this. I'm not writing any of this down. I should write it down. There's no doubt I'll forget. But then again, with an orc army, you don't want it all to be similar. So having a slight variation in the color, it's not a bad idea. So again, like with the previous color, we're just going to start drawing the paint away from darker, lower areas. Away from areas we want shaded, just to give that, using the colors to shade instead of having to use a shade. And if your differentiation in colors is a subtle one, you will slowly see the blending work. Okay, as you can see here, I'm not spending that much time now painting the layer on, because I don't need to. So I just need to paint on what I need. Because I'm coming further and further from the edge. It's just the same skill you can use for highlighting as well. When you do an edge highlighting, you start bigger and then work your way back to lighter colors. So I'll probably do another layer, and then I'll think about either if I want to start doing highlights and shades, or do another layer on top of that. We'll see when I've done with this layer and see what it looks like. Bear in mind, I've only got like 20 minutes to do this layer. So I will be working quick, because I don't want to do this layer, get halfway through, and then trying to remember next time how to mix this color. Because that would be a pain. There's only a subtle difference from the last one, so last layer. Again, trying to avoid going too far into the recesses, and trying to stick to the high-end highlights. It's also where you start getting a bit more careful where you brush. To be fair, I want to get to a point where I'm just almost dry brushing these layers on before I start getting to highlights and shades. Also, it helps not to do layers too thick because you're going to have a lot of layers if you paint like this. So you don't want it too thick where you start losing details. And think about it, I'm going to be doing this just for this. I'm going to be doing this technique for nearly every color on this. Even the silver. Even though it's going to be a metallic paint, I'm still going to be doing it. And this is like the level of dedication I put into doing that commission piece for V. For their OC character for the Warhammer army. It took me 20 hours to paint that. Just to paint it. That's not, 3D printing, prepping, sculpting, because I did do sculpting on it too. Now it needs repairing because the cack-handed. Also, if you're painting and your paints start getting a bit too thick because they've been there for a while, add some water or medium to them. That should help them last a little bit longer. A wet palette can help if you remember to, you know, not leave a sponge in there with water for weeks on end so it gets moldy as fuck, like I did. They don't need to. A plate will do just as well. Or you could make your own wet palette using a bit of Tupperware, an old sponge, and some greaseproof paper. Can't remember if I got the toes on this side or not, so I'm just doing them again just in case. Because you never know. Let's do the other toes, because I know I definitely haven't done those. Let's just do his backside here. Now we're just focusing on top areas, really. I'm not really going to go underneath. Like here, I'm still going to go underneath here because you can still quite see it, but I'm not going to go too far along the edges. Just the sharp edges that you're going to highlight, but the recessed edges I'm just going to leave. It's like the next layer will be just on the top edges then, and not on the lower edges. Maybe we'll get to a point where I'm just basically dry brushing. Hello, Keenan. How you doing? It's a different shade of blue. Same blue. It's a different shade, Keenan. So I'll show you in a second when I've done this claw bit. The armor on the claw. You should be able to see. It's only subtle changes, which I'm trying to do. Just a nice slow. This is going to take a few layers. I think I'm on. This is layer 5. This paint now. I'm not applying it too heavily. I'm just trying to get raised areas and not recesses. So I won't really go too far deep in there. Like, but if I bring it up here, hopefully you can see it. So this is the original blue we started with. That I did left off on the last stream, and this is the new blue we're on now, 5th layer. It's a lot easier to see in person, but this is just layering at the moment. Wait till we start doing highlights and shades. Then you will see the difference. That's when the fun starts, exactly. And this is just for this blue color. I'm going to be doing this again for the other colors I put on this armor. Not to mention the green skin, because there is some green skin in it. How you doing, Keenan? Hope you're well. I've been telling everyone we're doing it what is called a subtractive paint style, where you slowly add more and more layers receding from the edges and recesses to give a natural shade and look. So yeah, as I get more layers on, I become more and more careful where I put the paintbrush. Right now it's not too much of an issue, but later layers it will be. Especially if I want to stick to the contours of the model. Almost done with this colour. To the point where I won't actually need it anymore. As the next layer I can start mixing with a different paint. Different blue. to get for requirements I need. I won't need any more Macragge blue or dark blue. I'll just be going from a different base. Again, this is just one batch of this mix. I've almost done the whole model with it. Just what you need to do. Like right now, I won't paint the underside here in this blue. I'll leave that where it is. I'll still give it highlights, but there'll be darker highlights than what I'm giving. What I'll give the rest of it. Look at that, it's 11 o'clock already. Jesus. Almost done here, though. Just need to do these barrels. Maybe some more for gun turret. And then I'll be calling it a day. Right, just need to do the side here. No turret. Just using up the last of this blue paint I got. Like I said, for next layer, it will be a different. I won't need to start off with a Macragge blue. I can start off with a lighter blue and work my way up from there. There we go. Right, that's what we've done so far. So there we are. Put him on his base. We are done for tonight. Yeah, it's easier to see in the shade, the different colors, but yeah. So we've done 3 layers tonight. We've gone from basically ultramarine is the base, then we covered that in a contrast to get the shades and highlights to get that started. Then we used the contrast with our top blue, mixed those together to get the next layer. That was the 3rd layer. Then the 4th layer, we just put more of we put some ultramarine back into it, as well as more of this ultra into it to make it lighter. And then the next layer, we started off using a Macragge blue instead for a base. Put some more Outlook blue into that and some more ultramarine to bring it even lighter. Then we added some Teclis blue to bring that up a little bit more. So for the next layer, we won't even be using the crag blue anymore, because we don't need the darkness of it anymore. So we're probably going to be starting off as the Arctic blue as our base, going with a Techless blue to make it lighter, and the ultramarine to try and give it that blue base still. So that'll be for the next layer. Until we go on, then the highlights will be done with this and whites. So, and the shades will be done with a wash. But thank you all for being here. It's been much welcome for everyone to come along and help out. I am glad that you've all popped in, even if it's only been for a little while to say hello and then off you disappeared. I've appreciated everyone that's popped in. Don't forget, when I reach 1,000 subs on YouTube, I'll be doing a giveaway. We will be continuing this next Monday. I am deciding whether or not to do another Saturday morning streams like I used to. Bit on the fence on it at the moment. So, doing YouTube at the same time, making videos for it might take up some time for my video editing or recording. Yes, I'll put pictures up of this on Twitter. Hopefully my phone camera can capture the color change a bit better. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. And don't forget to go to Gunpla UK for all your Gunpla needs and use my code OMechanic at 10%, get 10% off. What we do now is I'll raid some randomer and then, or V, because V's in the VR chat right now, but we'll see. But anyway, thank you very much. I shall see you next week or on YouTube. Bye now.